Yo, what up, everybody? So I'm Daniel Diaz, guys. I'm a comedian here established in Tampa, Florida. But I'm not like a success or anything. But I do went through 2 years of hard grind, and now I have like 15 minutes worth of material that I think works through every room. And I want to share with you, especially if you're starting comedy right now, what to do. In the first 3 months of comedy, maybe 6 months after, what you should be looking for, because it's very confusing in the beginning. You just have that raw excitement of being in the open mic scene and meeting people, and now you start wondering okay, that joke worked over there, but it didn't work over here. Is it a failure? Should I drop it? I'm gonna hopefully teach you all that. I'm nobody yet, but I do grind and I do read all the the great books. And also we're gonna talk about books you should read by the end and how to refine your material. So stay tuned. Hopefully by the end of the video you will crack a 10-minute set. What you need to do is establish your voice, discover who you are doing comedy. That's your main gig right now. Because a lot of people would come in and you're gonna be inclined to do, those jokes, which is like dick jokes, jokes about dating, jokes about, drinking and doing drugs and shit like that. I don't know, somehow there is an inclination to look cool on stage, but immediately grab that shit, throw it on the trash, and reframe it with your truth, Because I used to bomb a lot, and all that bombing came from dick jokes, trying to look cool, or telling something that wasn't really my life, So that's the first lesson, discover your voice by bombing, of course, but bring that material that is this is my life, but this is how I see it. I think that's your first job as a comedian, to try to see the failures in your life as actually something worth looking at and laughing at, all right? So first thing to do is let's say you have a joke, you have a premise of a joke, right? And you want to test it, and you just have the idea of the premise, and maybe you don't know, because every joke follows a sequence of structure, which is premise, you develop a bit, and then you tweak it, and then you punchline. That's how usually a joke is gonna work on stage and everywhere. But through that try and error, you're gonna discover what lands, what is not what it's totally unnecessary for you to say in the joke, and you should cut it. That's gonna come only from experience. All right, so I'm gonna give you 5 gates, that if the joke crosses all 5 gates, then is a joke you gotta keep. All right, so if it crosses at least 3 of these 5 gates, it means it has potential. It means you should keep it, But all that comes from you hitting the open mics and bombing. The first gate is gonna be clarity. Can the audience understand immediately what the premise is about? They know why, how, and why we're here. If they cannot understand that, the premise kind of fails. Every joke that is good, that you probably like it, has that premise clarity right up front. Second gate is gonna be mechanism, all right? So the joke has a mechanism. Once you develop a premise, this is very common on open micers, especially in the first 3 months. They're gonna bring a fun premise, something that happened to them, but they don't have any mechanism in the joke. You know what I mean? A mechanism is something that makes the joke work in a short period of time. It can be absurdity, contrast, irony. You gotta flip that premise once you establish it. That's gonna make the crowd give that laugh and openness. All right, this is going to be fun. So make sure the joke has a mechanism. For example, a lot of people will be saying a premise, and all of a sudden they'll hit the punchline with oh yeah, big titties are fun. If the premise is just big titties, and the punchline will be big titties are funny, that's not a punchline. There's something there's some information that a 14-year-old boy has, and nobody needs to be paying in a club to hear that shit. So make sure it has some sort of a mechanism on it. Do you tweak it? Do you sell, there's escalation? Do you double down? Those are the mechanisms that you gotta look for it. That's the second gate. Gate number 3 is gonna be surprise. Can people know where the punch is gonna land? Does the punch land somewhere unexpected? That's gonna give you joke a lot of potential immediately. Because if people see the punch coming, they're not gonna laugh as hard, even though they can laugh. But if it's unexpected, if it shows something hidden, if it shows irony, then nobody really thought about it, you know. So that's gonna land beautifully. I remember one of the greatest example is when, you know, a joke by Mark Norman that he says about like gay people, you know, like, oh, I think me and gay people have a lot in common, you know. We both like, the joke is broke people and gay people have a lot in common. You know, I'm broke, you gay, and we have a lot in common. And then you'll be like, huh, what is that, right? So now he's gonna show the hidden irony in that premise, which is like, I think it goes like this, you know, I'm broke, you gay. First, you know, I'm not remembering exactly the joke now, but it's like, women just want to be our friends, and when you finally tell your parents, they're like, yeah, we knew. So I'm fucking up the joke, of course, but you got the idea. Like, there is a hidden structure. I mean, it's funny already, someone saying like, oh yeah, I'm broke, you gay, we have a lot in common. Broke people and gay people have a lot in common. And they'll be like, huh, that's interesting. That is gonna caught everybody's attention. But then you show the hidden mechanism, which is the irony in it, and how you blend those together. So it's a great joke structure, you know, there is a comparison, that's the mechanism. So, and nobody sees where it comes from. It lands unexpectedly. The fourth gate is gonna be repeatability. You know, repeat the joke. You gotta, you know, at least I tried the joke in 10 different open mics. That's basics, like that's basic for you to get the joke, you know, comfortable, so you know how to tell the joke, how to riff on it. So bring the joke around 10 open mics and develop a rate. Like, if it has a 70% ratio, then you keep the joke. If it doesn't land, like if it just land once and you try a second time, it didn't land, you try a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time, it just didn't land that one time, unfortunately the joke doesn't count. Me myself, I have plenty of experience like with that. I remember that I used to find like this joke. I work in a sushi place and I want to talk about like, oh, Asians are racist because they have a dish named the N-word, and the dish is the nigiri. So I'll be like looking at people and be like, come on man, the nigiris, bro. I was serving a guy one time, it took a while, he looked at me, he was like, yo, where are my nigiris at? Silence. Crickets. Nobody laughed. I did like that joke for I think 2 months and just got bombed. It worked one time in a place called The Gimmick in Ybor City in Tampa, but that was the only one. So I had like a few emotions toward that joke, like, oh my god, I think this is funny, man, how come? But you know, if it doesn't land, you don't keep it, because that's not like how you're gonna achieve. You gotta have a joke that has all those things, you know, the mechanism, the hidden irony, the specific, like, understandable immediately. All those things are gonna make the joke work in every room, because people see the twist, you know, and then like, oh, and it kicks in. And the last gate is, can this joke grow? Does it have ceiling? You know what I mean? Can you seal the joke? Like, if the joke is really good, there's gonna be a few things that's gonna happen with the joke. Because can you tag it now? Can you heighten it? Can you bring it back by the end? Can you mention something? Like when you're gonna say something about, you know, something else, and you bring that, you know, story back in the middle of something else, you know? That's one of the strongest things a comedian can do. When you see the great ones working, like Dave Chappelle, you see Mark Norman, they have these things coming back, you know? So that's basically a headliner mindset, this thing, you know? So yes, those are the 5 gates, and if they pass at least 3 of them, it means the joke has soul. You know, you can keep working, keep tweaking, and keep the joke, all right? All right, now let's talk about books. The books you should buy if you're a comedian, you know what I mean? So this is the first one, Finding Your Comedic Genius by Adam Bloom. Basically the best book out there for you to develop your comedic voice, to learn how to write jokes, to learn how to be on stage and all that. He does have a few amazing concepts in this book, like right at the gate, because he talks about one thing called balloon pop. You know what I mean? Every punchline there is powerful. It has a balloon pop. You know, when you pop a balloon, boom, and everybody. That's the same one, same idea. Has that's the strongest mechanisms I can say, because if you have a good joke and the joke lands, it means it's a balloon pop. Everybody understands the joke. It lands at the right moment, and then you pop the balloon, it's pop. Everybody's cracking, you know what I mean? So take a look at this joke. Another thing that he does that is very good is like jokes that are like either a square or a ball. I swear it takes a little bit of time for people to understand, and a ball, you're gonna, throw the ball and it's gonna knock all the balls out, you know what I mean? So understand those things and read this book. It's gonna be the best thing you can read, actually, The second book, which is like the classic, is the Comedy Bible by our dear Judy Carter. So this book is basically every book, like every comedian either read it or know about it. Very good book, a little bit outdated because it was written like in the 2000s. I guess she has like a new edition, being modernized, but this is the one. Also, a third book that I'm gonna recommend is this guy, How to Fail Stand-Up Comedy. When I saw the test, like when I saw this, I was like, all right, this is exactly what I need. Like, because basically the idea is like how to fail is like how you're gonna fail stand-up comedy, right? Like what to do. So he teaches you how to fail, like, do these things if you want to fail, but do the other things if you want to succeed. So this is a very good, especially if you're starting, because he's gonna teach you like the side of the business, because a lot of people forget, man, comedy has a business side to it that you gotta understand. If you don't understand that, man, it's gonna take a long ass time for you to start getting, booking those clubs and get like people on your radar, So do get those books out, start trying your material, in a new light, because I think that makes all the difference. Because people literally, I've seen some comedians doing the same 5 minutes for at least 2 years now. And I don't get it. The jokes doesn't land. There's no premise like the strong enough. It depends on the kindness of the people in the room. And I don't know, man, they think they're killing it. But, to each their own, guys. I hope this video has been helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any doubt. If you want to be a part of the comedian chat, just text me on my Instagram. It's Daniel Stand Up Diaz. And also buy my book. I wrote a book called Who Would Have Thought? A server with PTSD story, and it tells it's about a server who works in a restaurant, but he doesn't know he's developing PTSD. He just thinks he's going crazy. That's when he gets introduced to cannabis by his coworkers. Start opening his mind, all right? The book is the reason why I started comedy. So, thanks for being here with me until the end, and God bless, man. Keep killing it. Keep writing. Keep those jokes coming.